cost up to $750,000 for the term of August 1, 2024 through July 31st, 2025, which may be extended for 4 additional years.
A motion by Ms. Owen, a second by Mr. Watson. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in
A, consideration of nomination of Elston Turner for naming of Austin East Magnet High School gym floor.
motion by Reverend Butler, second by Mr. Triplett. I know we do have a public forum speaker on this.
Thank you,
item.
Madam Chair. We do have one public forum speaker, Pastor Miller. And if you will state your names, we're glad you're here. Thank you for coming. And if you'll state your name and county of residence, you will have 3.
My name is Pastor Sanford Miller. I'm a pastor New Salem Baptist Church here in Knox County. Also, I work at MRU Foundation as the sports director. I see I'm on the clock for a pastor, so it's going to be difficult. But I come today on behalf of Elston Turner and the proposal to name the floor, the Elston Turner floor, Clifford H. Ross Gymnasium, Elston Turner floor. He's the first state championship team. He went from Austin East into Ole Miss, where he starred, led them to the SEC championship against Dominic Wilkins, was drafted in the second round, went to the Dallas Mavericks, played 8 years in the NBA, 15 years professionally. His first job coaching was with the Portland Trail Blazers, and up to this day, he's coaching right now with the Minnesota Timberwolves. Well, since he was in the NBA, he comes and he has a camp each year for kids to where all of the proceeds from the camp go to Austin East High School scholarships. So he doesn't keep a penny in his pocket. He gives everything back to the school. He has supported track. He has supported football helmets. He has supported several churches here in the city. Just had a street recently named in his honor a couple of years ago down by Vine Junior High School. It's called the Elston Turner Street. Hall of Fame. So he's made many contributions to Knoxville. As you can see, you know, he's done a lot, continues to do a lot. He's having a camp at 2 weeks at Austin East High School. If you want to come and stick your head in and see exactly what he does, we have about 120 kids that signed up right now for that camp. So you will be impressed not only with the camp, but what he does each and every have the floor named in his honor. You know, I think you wouldn't go wrong. But thank you for your time. I did good. I got 50 seconds left as a pastor. But just thank you, Madam Chair, and each of the school board members just for your time. Thank you.
That's awesome. Thank you, sir. Reverend Butler.
I just like to piggyback and say that from a number of people around our community, this is not because of his family of lives over the years of young men and families. So we thank him for his service, and I think this is well deserved.
That's well said, Reverend Butler. Any other discussion? All right. Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Eddie Courtney for naming of Farragut High School Stadium.
Motion by Ms. Horn, a second by Mr. Triplett. Any discussion? Ms. Horn.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You guys know I gave a glowing recommendation for Eddie Courtney on Monday night, and I just wanted to, I wasn't going to mention this, but since the gentleman before mentioned about the street being named, I think we have the opportunity to honor 2 great men this evening with these nominations, and Eddie Courtney also had a street name for him this week. So Campbell Station is actually a town of Farragut Road, so it is now Eddie Courtney, I think it's Lane, but it's Eddie Courtney Lane. So that was a great time of celebration yesterday. Yesterday was also Eddie Courtney Day as by the town of Farragut and the There was a resolution by the state legislature to honor Eddie Courtney. I can't remember exactly what the phrasing was, but
Yeah.
anyway, it was a great day of
I
celebration.
saw all those celebrations yesterday. It was awesome.
Yeah, it was really a great and fun day. And it's just wonderful to be able to honor two great men, I think, tonight.
We're truly blessed by people who serve our community. Any more discussion on this item? Okay. All those in favor say aye.
And C, approve commercial lot land purchase and sale agreement with Sherry McAdoe for approximately 25.29 acres of real property located on Kimberlin Heights Road at a cost of $821,925.
Discussion? Seeing there's no discussion, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
10D, approve request of Knox County Schools Maintenance Department to purchase 5 Ford Transit vans and 1 Ford pickup truck at a cost not to exceed $300,000 using a fund balance designation approved.
Motion by Ms. Owen, a second by Ms. Horn. Any discussion? Seeing there's no discussion, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
10E, approve staff referral bonus program.
That was short. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
10F, approve an increase of $2 to the cost of tickets for football games and basketball games and an increase of $1 to the cost of tickets.
Horn, a second by Ms. Christie. Any discussion? Reverend Butler.
Just for clarification, is this for both high school and middle school? Or just because what we have is the increase?
That's a good, Coach Brown. That's a good question.
Coach Brown, you can correct me. I think on the memorandum it talks about that the middle school
was $2 for high school and $1 for middle school.
$2 for football and basketball, $1 for all other sports. It would be $1 for middle school basketball.
Okay.
Any other questions? No more discussion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? No. That's me opposing. So motion carries.
10G, approve instructional materials waiver for Emerald Academy to allow use of Wit and Wisdom K-2 English Language Arts curriculum.
Motion by Mr. Watson, a second by Ms. Horn. Aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. All right. I believe we have some public forum speakers.
We do. Mr. Johnson? Mr. Johnson, if you'll state your name and county residence, you'll have 3 minutes.
Know me, or you've heard of me, or think you know me. Got a theme song for everybody. Why did I do that song? I did it for the rest of your days to remember that when you hear my name, which is Charles, and all of my children. Now remember these 3 minutes, as some of you have left a lasting memory in my children. I wanted to leave some memories with you. In other words, I'm going to re-gift it to you. Now, hopefully these 3 minutes for any length of time. Our principals, Mrs. Sayers, Mr. Bauca, Mr. Bartlett, Mr. Claxton, Mr. Davis, and Mr. Neely has never had that problem. Now let's begin. Now I've seen some depravity that has been present within Knox County's law department, Knox security, Jason Period, and to me it's sickening. Now we've met other people who have shared our stories with us. It happened before we moved here and even after we got here. Now what I've seen is that you have weaponized sexuality. You've used those family, you upped that arrogance, not understanding that my Bible says that no weapon formed against me shall prosper. I'm still standing and speaking. You see, the reason I can do this is because there's a brown skin of my head. He's the one that walks beside me, and he whispers, I will repay. I've come to understand that my mere presence, it irritates the demons, the principalities, the strong, because I will leave those broad strokes of bias to many of you who follow gossip. Now you will sit submissive as a servant, while I speak in silence, knowing that this. Did you notice how loud silence can be? Families in Knox County, where I reside, have lived with this for days, weeks, months, and years. Your intentional generational silence sustained for the family has my cultural, emotional, and spiritual ears ringing. Mr. Johnson, dad of who's here with me, Charles II, Shekalel, Shamare, and Shakora. Charles out.
Thank you. Alexis Rhodes. This way, we can go back. Candace Bannister. Candace, if you'll state your name and county of residence, you'll have 3 minutes.
Sure, thank you. Candace Bannister, hi, Knox County resident. Whose job is it? Board Policy J210, harassment of. In cases, it's not only tolerated, it's rewarded. When an administrator is the one who harasses a student, whose job is it to do something about it? Is it the responsibility of students? If people in these roles have brought forth concerns for years, whose job is it to take an action? Ultimately, where does the responsibility lie for an administrator who has served in 6 different schools in 9 years with numerous concerns and reports? If action had been taken at West, Bearden would have not made it to his 6th school where 3 students died by suicide in his first year, the second of which was our 16-year-old son, Will. I know 2 school staffs put together folders of their concerns and gave them to central office. I still have my copy from one of these schools. My husband, following the suicide death of our son, based on our concerns, a state-mandated investigation took place. We asked to see the report of the investigation, and we were told there was not a written report. The staff on the summers of 2017, 2018, and again in 2019 to express their concerns. There are only 2 board members here who would have knowledge of this time. In the summer of 2019, an awkward late July move downtown to HR on the Friday before students' return, which means staff had already been in school for a week, was not documented as a corrective measure. So still, nothing in his file appointment involving this staff member. I gave him detailed reasons from our personal experience why this wasn't a good placement, as those who would harass students and staff should not be in prominent leadership positions. He listened attentively and was very generous to give me his time. He said he was unaware of any of this history, so I provided him a list of people who would like to share their experiences. At this time, no knowledge of this issue, and because the district always makes informed decisions, why doesn't he want to at least hear from these people? I'm baffled. Will cannot tell you his story, so I'm here in his place. As a former employee and as a parent, I want to know whose responsibility it is to take action regarding all of these concerns. Why has nothing been done? I find it irresponsible, the result of systemic failure on the part of not following policies and not taking action is disgraceful and disrespectful to everyone who suffered at the hands of this person for there to be nothing documented in his file. Thank you. I have copies of those files if any of you would like to have them.
Thank you. Madam Chair, that concludes public forum.
Thank you, Mr. Triplett. Ms. Owen.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to share some information with the board regarding Ms. Bannister's discussion. In 2018, well, first, we all know how hard it is to get a large group of people together for a meeting, or even a small group of people. Just to have a group of people and get them to show up for a meeting, it's very difficult. In 2018, I got a phone call. 4 hours later, someone had provided a home, and 20 teachers came to meet with me about issues that were going on at one of our schools. They had compiled very careful documentation, and it was provided to our administration. I think it was also provided to most of our board members. At that time, I also found out that something similar had happened at the prior school that administrator of information and documentation of incidents that had happened with staff at that prior school. And when I went to find that, what I found out was that it no longer existed. So that information no longer existed, and this information that we know was there no longer exists. That is concerning to me, that we have a pattern of very serious complaints and somehow disappearing from existing. I would really like to have us take a very long look at our procedures and processes in HR to find out why those things no longer exist and how someone could be promoted without anyone seeming to know that any of those things were problems in the past. I know the executive team was copied on those emails, so I know that there was knowledge, and I'm very curious to find out why that knowledge no longer exists. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Owen. Okay, well, with that, we are adjourned. Oh, I'm so sorry. I did not gavel out, so Reverend Butler, you were.
Thank you. I just wanted to let the board know that I will not be present for the quarterly workshop in Zion Church, so I will miss you all immensely.
Enjoy. All right, well, with that, we are adjourned.